Hello everyone, welcome to the part 2 of workflow orchestration using Apache Airflow and precisely astronomer-based Airflow, which is the managed service for Apache Airflow. In the part 2, as I promised, I'll be covering a complex DAG where we'll have the primary DAG from Airflow calling the machine learning pipeline that is developed using Kubeflow pipeline. Now this is something if you search in internet also you'll not find many references. I would challenge if you will find any reference at this point, right, at all. So this is something I wanted to try out because if you are a machine learning developer, you might be more comfortable building the pipeline using Kubeflow, right? And as a general pipeline developer, right, data engineer, you would be more comfortable building the orchestration pipeline using Airflow, right? So that's where the combination of your pipeline steps coming from Airflow to Kubeflow, back to Airflow, and then running the whole pipeline basically from Airflow, right? So uh, in the step in the middle, it will call the pipeline from Kubeflow as well. So this is a complex scenario. Let's get into this. Okay, and this is the primary repository that I created. In part 1, I have covered this Astronomer Airflow. Today it's about part 2, so I'll be using Astronomer Airflow to Kubeflow, this repository path. The steps are outlined here. The first step is I'll create a Kubernetes cluster. For that, I'll be using kind, uh, and then these are the steps that I'm going to execute. So you can see uh, I think I've already created them here. Yes, kind. So that's the context here, right? And that's already created. So I have run these steps in my system. Next step is setting up Kubeflow hyphen setup.sh, Kubeflow port forward. Right. So this you can download from the Kubeflow website. I will probably upload in the repository as well, but it's good practice to refer it from the source. Right. Next step is building Docker images for individual steps in the Kubeflow pipeline. So probably in a separate video, because otherwise this particular video will be much longer, which I want to avoid. Today I'll be covering the pipeline at a very high level, like the Kubeflow pipeline. But in future I might have one particular video targeting how you create a Kubeflow pipeline and its individual components and steps, right? Uh, Now the different pipeline steps in your Kubeflow pipeline would have to be Dockerized, right? So you have to create an image out of that step. And here for my example pipeline today in the Kubeflow, I have 4 steps: pre-process, train, test, and deploy. And these are the individual steps that I'll explain what they are doing. Basically, you can assume like for whatever number of steps that you have, for every single step, you have to create a separate Docker image, because when you'll be running that step from that pipeline, that particular image will be taken from the Docker Hub or from your own Docker repository, right? The Artifactory, right? And then if you have a private Artifactory, it will be taken from that, and then uh, in the Kubeflow orchestration engine, it will deploy that particular image and run the step, right? And that is repeated for every single steps. All right. So let's look at some part of the code very quickly. Again, the primary tag code is Airflow to Kubeflow 2, and the name I have given is Airflow to Kubeflow, right? That's the DAG name that you'll see when you'll be looking that in the Airflow page. And again, these are some default args and some more configuration here until here. From here, you are defining the DAG. There are some of the steps are from the part 1, but I'll be focusing primarily on this one, 4, task number 4, which is Python operator I'm calling this Python function, right? Call Kubeflow pipeline. You can see the reference from here. KP underscore pipeline import call Kubeflow pipeline. Let's look at that. So this is the like the Airflow DAG definition, right? This is the primarily DAG pipeline definition file within Kubeflow. Here, the name of that pipeline I have given as name as this one. Okay, but in the Kubeflow, you'll see whatever is the function name, right? That's what you will see. California Housing Pipeline. Right? That's the name you will see in the Kubeflow pipeline in the corresponding UI, right? And these are the steps: pre-process, train, test, and deploy. The four steps that I have already mentioned. And this is a function that I'm calling from the Airflow DAG called Kubeflow pipeline. So it will initialize the Kubeflow pipeline client instance, and I'll tell you the importance of this particular URL. And then once that client object is initialized, you're going to call the create run from pipeline function, right? So that's the initial function that you call, and in that you pass the first function as an argument and any parameter passed to that function, right? So right now I'm not passing any parameter, so that's the argument list is empty, and this is the function that I'll be calling, and that function will call these pipeline steps. All right. The next part would be running, so initializing the Kubeflow setup, right? For that, let me go to the step. So I was at this step, kubeflow-setup.sh, and in this, if you go to the repository page, I have added this file, kubeflow-setup.sh. The steps are already part of the script. So what we'll have to do is just download this file and run it from a terminal. This has to be done after you have created the cluster, Kubernetes cluster using kind, right? The previous steps that we have already executed. Okay, so the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to run this kubectl command where the ML pipeline UI would be port forwarded from 80 to 8081. Okay. Let's do that. Okay, let's see if the Kubeflow UI is accessible now. Yes, we can access the Kubeflow page, and all those experiments that you have either run or you're going to run, they're going to be listed here. Okay. Now, what we'll do is, if you go to the repository page and the DAX folder, right? So I would suggest you to download all these files into the DAX folder of your previously created Airflow DAX folder, right? In the part one, we have created that, so I'm not going to repeat that. If you come here, right? So you have DAX folder. You should copy all these files into the DAX folder. Let me give few seconds for you to do that. You can see I've copied over those files into the DAX folder. Now let me come back to the Airflow DAX page. Take a while to get our new DAG listed over here. Okay, so as you see, if you refresh your page, you might encounter this error, DAG import error. And if you look at that error details, no module name AFP. I wanted to, have this error faced so that we know how to deal with some such situations. So the airflow DAGs, the complex DAG that we are developing right now, if it refers some other external Python modules, in that case, how do you deal with that situation, right? So what we have to do right now is, the scaffolding project that we created as part of astro dev init command run. It creates one file called requirements.txt. So it's like any other Python requirements.txt. So what I'll do is I'll just mention the module that I want to import. Oops. Okay. All right. So the requirements.txt file is now set. I'll have to do a restart so that the change takes effect. It will take a while. I'll resume my screen sharing after some time. Okay, now the command has successfully executed. All the containers are restarted, and I have refreshed this DAG space now. You can see that new DAG has come effective now. Airflow to Kubeflow, and you can see the visualization of it. So Airflow, this until here you have already seen, most likely have seen, right? Print context, print simple, and then the last step is run Kubeflow pipeline. So in within Airflow, it will look like a single step. However, if you go and see uh, that particular pipeline in Kubeflow, it will show you these additional steps of pre-process, train, test, and deploy. Right. So this is the Kubeflow pipeline definition, and here it will show as a single step. So till here, Airflow will be executing. This particular step will go to Kubeflow, and Kubeflow will take care of running this particular pipeline separately. And if you have steps further, then it will come back to Airflow, and Airflow will continue its overall pipeline execution, right? So let's trigger this and see. First three steps are simple. Those are some print statements. But what I'm interested primarily is how the execution goes to the Kubeflow pipeline. In the meantime, I'll show you here. Nothing is running at this point, right? All these are completed. And once it comes to this particular step, the pipeline will start executing. The Kubeflow pipeline will start executing the Kubeflow side. So second step is done. Now it is running the third step. Third step is done. And this is where it is invoking the Kubeflow pipeline. Let's hope execution of this goes through. It looks like it is cleaner. Let me refresh the experiment space in Kubeflow. Yeah, there you go. You can see, oh, I see it is being executed twice. That is strange. I'll look into that. Ideally, there should be just one instance of it. Okay, now it is executing the pre-process step. You can look into the logs also. Pre-processing data. That's good. As soon as it goes to the next step, which is the train, right? Oops, something has failed. Storage backend has reached its minimum free disk threshold. Please delete a few objects to proceed. I'll look into this part, but ideally, what I wanted to present to you today is, that the pipeline step from Airflow comes to Kubeflow, and the Kubeflow specific pipeline will run in the Kubeflow side. That's what I wanted to present. Uh, Thanks for watching.